everybody, I'm Blackstone and welcome to my craft room. I'm so excited to have you here today. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. That way you don't miss out on any of the fun crafty content we have coming. Now today's video is a Glowforge video and I'm super excited to share this one with you because we are going to do some scrap busting, which basically means you have these small pieces of material and what are you going to do with them? We are going to make some really fun post earrings. They're really little, so I'll show you some close-ups of them, but they are a really fun project, super easy, and what's really cool is you can usually sell these for anywhere from about $3 to $10, just kind of depending on your area, and it's already really pretty much a profit because you are not probably using that little piece of wood for anything else. You can make little earring holders for them, and they sell really well at markets and online. I'm going to show you a couple different ways to make the designs for these earrings. We're going to use a Glowforge design, we're going to use a PNG and an SVG, and I'm so excited to show you how to do this. So let's get started. I also want to remind you that you can save up to $500 on a Glowforge at the link down below. You can go to glowforge.com/CorinneBlackstone. Glowforge is a fantastic laser. I love it. I've been using it for several months now, and I am super impressed with it. If you are somebody who's looking into an easy to use, very user-friendly laser, highly recommend the Glowforge. So let's go ahead, we're going to get started. I'm going to show you how to scrap bust some earrings.
Whatever we would do, we do it just for fun.
To make these scrap buster earrings, we're of course going to start in the Glowforge app, which is just app.glowforge.com. Now I'm going to go and start a new design, so I'm just going to create new design, and we're going to create a blank design. We're going to use a couple different ways to make this. So this is just the first way that you can make these scrap buster earrings, but there's a bunch of other options as well. So what I'm going to do is where this little plus sign is, you can see that there's all this cool different little like artwork that you can actually use from Glowforge. So let's make pumpkin earrings, and we'll do a couple of different sets from their art because it's really easy to work with what they have. So let's leave the pumpkin and then let's find something else. Now what's cool is you can search here. So I've got a couple things that I've searched before. So if you search things like Disney, you'll find like mice ears and things like that. Very Disney related stuff, which is a super fun way to use your earrings. I think these are super popular. Anything Disney is always going to do really well. So let's do some Mickey earrings. I think those will be fun. And then let's look for a flower. So we'll just do a couple of these just to show you how they look. And then we can show you how to draw and do some other things. There's a lot of fun ways to use this. So just find whatever design you like, whatever makes you happy. You know, if you find one that you really enjoy, you can absolutely use that. So the first thing that I want to do is add a little outline around them because right now it's just going to kind of be a little bit awkward for an earring. So I like to put just a small outline to create that design. Now I don't like to go usually more than 0.1 for my outline. So you do what you like to do, but this is the one that I like. I like the 0.1 because you can see the difference. See how much wider the outside line is than the inside line? That's the 0.2 line, and I just think it's too big. So I just wanted to show you kind of the difference. I'll do the same thing here. I'm just going to add a 0.1 outline. Click Create New Outline. Change this to 0.1. Hit Enter, and you're good to go. We'll do the same thing for the flower. We'll just create that outline. Change it to 0.1. Hit Enter, and just click away. So now that I've got those all outlined, the next thing that I want to do is to resize them. So what I want to do is I'm going to resize them to about 0.5 inches. That way they're going to fit pretty well on an ear because anything bigger looks a little bit too big in my opinion. So I just want to make sure that I size them down. So I'm just using the ruler, just changing the width to 0.5. I'm going to do that for all three of my items. Change that to 0.5. And now I'm going to go ahead and just kind of grab this guy and move him a little bit closer. We'll move them around a little bit more here in a second, but I need to duplicate them because obviously you need 2 earrings to make a set. So what I'm going to do is select everybody, right click, copy, right click, and click paste. And now you'll see that we have the 2 sets of earrings that we need. Now I need to turn on my Glowforge so that I can show you guys it and how to like set them up and where to place them. So let me go ahead and go do that, and then we'll be ready to get all the cut settings set and all of that. I've turned on the laser, which means now we can see the material that's in the laser bed, which in this case is medium draft board. And I find this works pretty well for earrings, but you can do lots of different options. It's really just up to you and what you want to do. So for these earrings, we have a couple options for them. We can score them, engrave them. It's really up to you. But the first thing that I want to do is I want to move my earring so that it is in a spot that has material. So that's why this is kind of a cool scrap buster project, because you can really shove these little guys into spots where there is leftover material. Now you can see I used this piece quite a bit, so I do have some spaces here that are perfect to shove some earrings in. And you can really fill this up however you want to. It's up to you and how you want to do it. So I'm just going to move all of my earrings into spots where I have some space. And you can really just shove them anywhere. Like, I'm just sort of putting them randomly so that you'll be able to see that you're able to put them into a bunch of different spots and really save materials. Now, obviously, I could totally move this guy and probably put him in here. It's really just up to you and how you want to do it. There's not really a wrong or right way to lay these out. It's wherever you decide to put them. And typically, I would do quite a few of these at once just so I could really use as much of the scrap as I can. So what I want to do is I'm going to change some settings. So these flowers, I'm going to have it score the flowers because I think that'll look really nice and the flowers will look okay scored. And same with the pumpkins. Let's go ahead and score the pumpkins as well. But I'm going to leave Mickey here as an engrave so that he really stands out, because you'll see that if I do a score with him, he's going to not look quite as, I'm not sure what to call that, but quite as defined. So I want to make the Mickeys, I'm going to do those with an engrave. Now, engraving does take a little bit longer than scoring, but if you're doing something really small like this, it typically doesn't take forever. So you'll just kind of want to play with it and see how you want to make it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click the word print, and it's going to do what's called preparing my print. So it's going to autofocus on my material again. It moves the laser head around a little bit because there's a camera on that, which is how it reads where your material is. And because I'm using proof grade material for this, I don't need to change settings. The Glowforge automatically knows what I need it to cut at to work with this material. I haven't really worked with any non-material that isn't like Glowforge per se yet, but I'm hoping to soon. Now, once it's ready to go, it's got the time that it's going to take to make these. And then one thing I want to do is I want to check where these are now sitting, because you'll see that this one over here is sitting way too close to that design. So it's probably going to chop it off a little bit, which we definitely don't want it to do. So I just want to move it a little bit around, and I just double check where everything is sitting to make sure that it doesn't look like anything's going to get cut off. Now, if you do something like this where you only grab one piece of it, all you simply need to do is click undo, and I'm going to go ahead and just draw a square around them and just move it over a little bit. I'm going to move this pumpkin over. He's a little close to that little curl. And I think everything else looks like it's pretty good to go. So all we have to do now is go over to the machine, hit the little print button, and we'll get this printed out. On the Glowforge, what you'll see is this flashing button here. So we're going to go ahead and press that, and it's going to get started. So I'm going to take you over to the machine here and let you watch. Now that it's finished, we can go ahead and open this up and we can pull out our earrings. Now, obviously, we definitely cut this one a little too close, but I think it'll be okay. We'll take a look and see how off it is. But what I like to do is I'm gonna go ahead and just pull this out. And a couple of earrings obviously fall through, but that's okay, no big deal. But I wanna look at this flower and let's see. You know, honestly, other than just a little flatness at that top, it's not bad. I think I'm okay with leaving it like that. I don't think it's too bad. And then here's our little Mickey. Look how cute he is. So fun. And then I gotta get the pumpkins popped out because those ones stayed in. Sometimes they do. It's just really kind of depends on the design and the board. So sometimes some of them will like stay stuck in. Like these guys stayed stuck in, so I'll have to pop those guys out. I turned the laser off just because it's a little bit loud in the background, but I want to show you how to make your own designs with this as well. So first thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and delete what's already on here, just so it's out of our way. Then what I want to do is I'm going to click on the plus button again, and right here where it says upload, I'm going to choose that. Now I'm going to choose this cat that I have, and he's just a simple JPG. So I'm going to choose this little kitty cat. I'm sorry, he's a PNG. So he has a transparent background. Now he's pretty big, so it does take him a second to load into here, but he's really cool. So it's going to be a super fun way. Now this may not be like the best earring design, but it has a lot of detail. So I just wanted to use it to show you guys how we can do this. Now, obviously he's way too big for an earring. So we're going to size him way the heck down because he's still really large. So I do want to just make him decently smaller. I think that's pretty good. I can zoom in on him just so that you guys can see a little bit better like what he looks like. So let me move him over a little bit. And I think that looks pretty good. So again, remember we need to add that outline to him. And I don't like to do a big outline. So let's just go ahead and create the new outline. Doing it this way is just the same as doing it like you did it before. But now he's going to end up with kind of a funky outline. So you'll want to keep that in mind. For whatever reason, this guy gets a little bit of a weird outline. So you may need to play with your sizing quite a bit because we sized him down before adding our outline. It's very similar to the way the outline and the offset works in Design Space, where if you make it way too small in the beginning, it's harder to get a really tiny offset in that you want. So I just want him to be pretty small. I think that looks pretty good. So I went with the 0.01, which is really little, but again, because he's very small, that's why it is set up that way. So now again, we want to just select him, copy him, and paste him. And we'll just kind of arrange it so that they're not on top of each other. Let me zoom back out again so that we can see our spacing here. Zoom back out. We'll put him kind of under the Mickey. And we'll grab this guy. Just want to make sure you grab both parts of him and put him over here. I'll go turn the laser back on so that it'll set up, and then we can get these guys cut out. Now that I've turned the laser back on, you'll see that it has our little kitty cats selected. Now what's kind of strange right now is that it's showing them in kind of an odd way. Like this one's a little bit different because he's too far over to the side. Do you see how he's red? You definitely don't want him to be red. He's too far over, so I want to move him, and that'll turn him blue. Now, obviously, I want to make sure I move both pieces, so I'm going to go ahead and undo that. But he's just a little too far over to the side for the Glowforge to allow it to cut. So what you'll want to do, like I'll zoom back out a little bit so you can see. You'll see that we have these edges that are kind of whitish. That just means that you can't cut or engrave or anything in those spaces because the laser can't access it. So I'm going to move this guy over into the middle over here. And then I think I'll just leave him where he's at. Just gives him enough room. So what we have are options to do engrave, or with this one you can only do engrave because it's a PNG. So you got to keep that in mind when you upload them. You can't score them, but you can engrave them. And I think engraving on these will be just fine. Let me dismiss this print done thing really quick to get it out of the way. So this is all set up, good to go. So now all I need to do is click print. Now this might take a little bit longer because we're going to engrave all of the cat pieces in like the little details of the cat. So this may be a little bit longer of a process. Engraving definitely takes way longer than scoring, but it does give you a lot more detail and more filled in areas. So it just really depends on what you want to do with it and how you want it to look. Now again, this is going to go ahead and prepare everything. So this only takes 2 minutes, so that's not too bad. So let's head over to the Glowforge and get this all made. Again, we're just going to press the little go button, take you over here so you can watch it get them ready. right, it's all done. So we can go ahead and open. And let me show you the detail. Look at that. Look how detailed that is. So cool. So fun. Now I will say I think it is time to clean my laser. This one's a little bit off center. Can you kind of see how it's just a smidge? Let me pop it out here so you can see it. You see how this one's a little bit off center? There's a little more edge over here and not as much over there. I think I need to clean my laser. So that is something we will do today, but look how fun. Now I want to show you how to upload an SVG versus a PNG to create your next set of earrings. So what I'm going to do is click this plus button. I'm going to click on upload, and then I'm going to go and find an image that I want to use to create my earring. So you can really do whatever you want to. These are a little bit bigger than I'd want to do for earrings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my desktop and I'm going to look in my CRICUT folder, because I definitely have some fun SVGs that we can use over here that will work perfectly. So there's a lot of options that you can do to make your own, but we're going to just use an SVG that I made a while ago to create these earrings. So you'll see that this has a couple of parts. Now, what we're going to do first is I'm going to go ahead and size this down a little bit just because it's huge. And the next thing that I'm going to do is, of course, create the outline. I'm going to create new outline. And remember, I like to make my outlines pretty small. So I'm going to just go down to like let's try just like 0.08 and see what we think. I like to play around with them and just see kind of how big they are. I think I want to go maybe a little bit bigger on this one. So let's try 0.1 and see what we think there. I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and go with that for my outline. Now, for this portion, I don't want everything to engrave. I think we'll just engrave the word love, and we'll go ahead and we will score all the other parts. So what I'm going to do is I want to select this section of my heart, and I just want to tell it to score. I want to take this section of my heart as well, and I want to make sure that that is also set to score. But we're going to leave the love part with engrave, because I think that'll just look really fun. Just kind of something to change it up. So you can see it do a couple different steps with the same earring. But if you were to look at this as an SVG, you would notice that the love pieces, so the heart and the love and then the little shine, would all be separate pieces in our SVG. So now, of course, we want to come back over here. I want to grab everything. I want to right click and I'm going to group them just so they stay all where I want them to. Then I'm going to size them down. Again, I like to do 0.5 inches. And then I want to create a little copy. But I think I want to make these ones just a little bit bigger. So maybe let's go to 0.6 for these. And you can always kind of move them around and like see how big they look compared to your other earrings. I think that's good. I think a 0.6 is fine. So as always with the earrings, you want to make two. So I'm going to just right click, copy, right click, and paste. And you want to just kind of make sure they're spaced out a little bit. They don't have to be too far apart. But again, I can kind of stick them in like little spots where I have some space. I think that looks pretty good. We'll just kind of shove them where we've got some space. So now I want to click print. And it's going to prepare my print. So you'll hear the laser in the background. It's moving the laser head, kind of figuring out where everything is. It's scanning the material that's on the bed. And then it's going to get ready to do our print. It'll give us a time estimate, so that's super fun. So now it tells us this is going to take about 1 minute and 39 seconds. Now I always double check and make sure that these are not overlapping anything. They look like they're in a good spot. They're not like over any cut areas. And now we can head over to the laser and get ready to cut these out. We're going to go ahead and hit the button to get started, and it's going to go ahead and cut, engrave, and score.
Starts racing, I don't know if I like this chasing and playing. starts racing. I don't know if I like this chasing and playing and waiting around. It's a shame that my hands start shaking all of the time when you're around me. But this time, girl, I know what's bothering me. I need somebody to love. Oh, nah, 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 nah.
Now that it's done, we're gonna give it just a second here to cool down. You'll kind of hear it make some noise. It'll click and do a few other things. But once it's kind of gotten past that point, you can go ahead and open your top. And here are our earrings right here. Very fun. So what we'll do is we're gonna go ahead and lift this up, maybe. And sometimes they don't always like release, so you may need to just take the wood out, kind of pop them out. But this one came out just fine. So we'll take a look at this one while it's out. And you can kind of see, look how fun. Isn't that cute? All right, we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show you how to remove the masking from these and then how to put them on the earring posts. When working with the Glowforge, they do have a masking over their wood that comes from their proof grade. And that is to protect it from getting scorch marks on it. So like, especially with like Mickey, you'll notice his face is pretty scorched. Now there's a couple ways that you can remove masking. One is a little plastic scraper, which you can just sort of kind of run along the edge of your design. And you'll see here that some of this masking is coming off. Now with these really small items, this is not my favorite way to do this because I just find it takes a little longer. So what I like to do is I get a piece of duct tape. It can really be any duct tape that you want, colored, plain silver, whatever you can get your hands on. And I will take all of my earrings and I will press them down onto my duct tape. And it doesn't matter which way you press them down at first, whether you do the front side or the back side first, really doesn't matter. And then what I do, I just want to make sure they're really well pressed down. And you're going to take and peel the earring off. Now it may not get everything that first go round, but it does get quite a bit of it off. Now this one is all done on one side, so I'm going to let this one sit over to the side. We'll move on and do another. Now again, this one got a lot of it, but not everything. So you can just kind of repress it and peel it off and just do that a couple times, however many times you need to, in order for it to pull all of the masking off of your design. Sometimes you'll get a really good one where it gets everything in that first shot, but sometimes you gotta do it a couple times. That's totally okay, not a big deal. Like that one, I think got everything that nope, I missed one. We almost had all of them, got one petal left behind. But as you can see, all I'm doing is I stuck them face down, and then I just kind of go through and I peel them up. Mickey got all in one shot, that's awesome. Now the cat seems to definitely take a few more presses to get everything off of him, but he has a lot of little pieces. So once you're satisfied, you've got all your little pieces off, you just kind of put them to the side. And then we'll do the same for the back side of them as well, just so we can make sure that we get all the pieces and parts, because you want to make sure that you don't have any masking on the front or the back. So I'm going to go ahead and finish these guys off. I'll do the back, and then I'm going to show you how to put them on to the earring backs. Now, because the back sides don't have all those little pieces, you can just easily use the little plastic scraper and get it started, and then just peel it off with your finger. And I do like to have a little piece of duct tape or whatever just sitting by so that I can stick the backing right to it so it doesn't kind of roll all over my table. Somewhere along the way, one of my Mickeys is missing. I think he's upstairs, probably still sitting on the Glowforge. So I'll grab him, but it's not going to change how these are done. We'll just have one less Mickey in the video. But don't worry, I'll get the other one and we'll have a set of Mickeys. So as you can see, all I'm doing is just kind of running that scraper along an edge and just peeling up the masking. So I'm going to do that for all of my earrings, and then I'm going to show you how we're going to attach them to the earring back. I always put down a silicone mat here just so that I don't get anything on my table. And what I'm doing is I'm putting all of my earrings face down. And then I got this big set of these earrings. These are the backs and the actual posts from Amazon. So they came with a couple of different sizes and a couple of different like backing pieces. So I've got some very, very small ones and then also some slightly larger ones. I think all of our earrings should work okay with the slightly larger ones. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pour just a few out here. And all they are just like the earring and it's flat. So it's just like a flat back with the earring post. Super easy to work with. And we are going to be using E6000. E6000 is a great glue, but I will warn you, it is pretty smelly. So for me, I do have to do this in a well-ventilated area. And usually while it's drying, I just try to make sure I'm not in the room with it. Here's the thing though, it glues out really, really bad, which is why I recommend a silicone mat. Because if it glues out, you can just stick it onto your silicone and then it won't get everywhere. So I just put a little dot onto my earring back. And then I just put my earring back onto my earring. I'll come back and fix that one here in just a second. And to find the other cat head, there's the other one. Normally I would try to keep them together, but it's okay if they're a little bit further apart. And then I just make sure to put those earring backs on. You want to make sure that they're sitting flat against your earring. So you just press them down a little bit. And you can kind of scoot them. The E6000 does not dry super duper fast. So you can scoot them around if you need to. And then you just put a little dab. A little dab will do you with these, which is nice. So I just try to get that pretty centered. And you're just going to do that for all of these earrings. Now I would recommend letting these dry usually at least 24 hours, just so that gives that glue plenty of time to cure. Because you don't obviously want your earring to fall off. So I'm going to go ahead and get the backs on the rest of these. I'm going to find our missing Mickey because I have no idea where he's hiding. And we are going to have some really fun sets of earrings. Now what's cool too is if you want to, you can absolutely paint these. I just have no desire to, but you can use paint pens, you can use acrylic paint, whatever you want to paint them. You can absolutely do that. You can make layered earrings. So just have fun with making earrings. There's not like a wrong way to design them. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and get these all glued together, and then I'll show you what they look like. Here are the earrings all finished. I let them dry for about 24 hours, and then I just cut these little earring cards on my CRICUT that I found in Design Space. These ones here are the Glowforge images, and they came out really, really cute. This is such a fun way that you can use up little pieces of wood, acrylic, or anything that you really have with the Glowforge, and turn it into a profit or something really fun. These are the designs that we loaded ourselves, the cat, and the little heart. I think this is just such a fun way to use your Glowforge. If you have any questions, let me know in those comments down below, and be sure to use that link to save up to $500 on a new machine. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and happy crafting!